Transformation doesn't come because you show up here for an hour and 20 minutes. You'll be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But this word renewing is the same word as renovating. How many of you know you can't renovate a house in an hour and 15 minutes? If you're going to renovate a house, you got to kick some walls down. You got to pull some tiles up. You got to get into the mess of it. And that's what we got to do in our brain.
You have to decide that you're going to be in control and that you are going to do what you want to do. You are the machine and you can control the machine. Weakness doesn't get a vote. Sadness, no vote. Frustration, no vote. I don't even give my temper a vote. The next time that you're feeling weak or you're feeling lazy or you're feeling emotional, tell them you are declaring martial law on your mind. You're declaring mind control and impose what you want on your brain and use that mind control to move your life where you want it to be.
It's not about clearing out your closet. It's about the transformation of your mind.
Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds.
Do you have a mind to change? Do you have the mindset to be blessed? You have to decide to be blessed.
A whole set of circumstances can bend you over. What your daddy did to you, what your mama didn't do for you, can bend you over and keep you an emotional cripple for a long time. There's some people here who's still spinning from things that's happened years ago, and you can't shake it. It's got you crippled and you can't straighten up. Every time you straighten up, you can only go so far. Because it's not only a problem of health, it's a problem of habit. You're used to being bent over. Because you can be bent over so long, you don't even know how to straighten up. And things aren't straightening out. They aren't getting better. You remain crippled in your situation.
Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. Sometimes you got to say to yourself, now you know better than that. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. When you see somebody you don't like, or somebody who gets on your nerves, you got to talk to yourself. You got to talk yourself into some stuff. And then you got to talk yourself. You got to tell yourself, don't do it. Don't go that way. Danger, dangerous intersection. You have to be able to talk yourself out of some stuff, because a whole lot of stuff I would not have gotten into had I talked to myself.
We've got a chance to grow like never before, but I'm telling you, there's going to be many enemies that's going to try to prevent us. Whatever threatens you, I'm asking you to threaten it back. Take care of your responsibility. Somebody wants to destroy your chances for a good future by their negative talk, negative thinking, putting it all down. I'm telling you, walk away if you have to. Walk away. Whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your opportunity, threaten it back. Now, some of our enemies are on the outside, but here's the most important thing to understand. Some of our enemies are on the inside. You got to do battle with your own indifference. And you've got to learn not only to nourish your values, you've got to learn to do battle with your enemies. I'm asking you to have some faith, have some courage, believe, drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them loose like a mad dog, drive you into a small corner. Don't doubt the future. Don't doubt the possibilities. And here's the most important one of all. Don't doubt yourself. If I've got miracle working power to change my life, so do you. If I can grow, you can grow. I'm asking you, don't sell yourself short.
Even if you are 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, doesn't matter. You're in the game now, and that's what counts. And all those quote unquote wasted years, they weren't wasted, because you learned. Learned about what it's like to be weak, and the knowledge that you learned about those things is fuel to make sure that it never happens again. Because you know what is out there, and you know how bad it can get. I say you embrace what you learned from the weekdays. Let them make you even stronger. And you use your own personal transformation that you've made in life. Use that to help other people transform and get on the path as well.
If you know what it is to have the kind of pain that feels as if you cannot be comforted, if you know what it is to be at the end of your rope and feel like your life is over and you've got questions that cannot be answered and you're confused and you're uncertain, you need to learn this verse. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. I will never forget there's been many opportunities in my life that I have grappled with grief and pain so unbearable and so overwhelming that I thought that I would never smile again. I've seen days that were so dark for me that I thought there could not possibly be a silver lining in the clouds that hung over my head. I've seen days and weeks and months that drugged me so low that I gave up all hope of getting up again. But in the midst of all of that despair and that trouble and that trauma and that pain, there was in the basement of my soul this one word, when.
When should you start the day? As soon as you have it finished. Plan the day the best you can, leaving plenty of room for improvising and surprises and all the stuff that happens during the course of the day. But if you've planned a good, productive day, now you start that day, you can't believe how much more valuable your time will be. Next, don't start the month until you have it finished. The places to go and the people to see and the productivity and the sales and the customers and the development and all the rest of what you want to accomplish during the course of 30 days. And then here's the big one. This is really challenging. Don't start the year until you have it finished. To the best of your ability. It can't be finished like minute by minute. But in terms of the sweep of what you want to accomplish, make sure that that's set and ready to go. And it might get all upset. And it might get torn up and you do anew. And you make so much progress the first 90 days that now you've multiplied it all by 2, by 3. Because that happened to me. I thought, wow, this is going to be a great year. By the time I'd finished the 3rd month, I'm rolling. So many things are happening. I revised my whole year's plan. Don't let anything overly bug you. Because remember now, you don't have to do anything. Someone says, well, I got to get a handle on my time. The answer is no, you don't. If you want to let it all go, you can let it all go. Somebody says, you ought. Jot this down. Ignore all the you oughts or you should. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your time. Take charge of your resources, which we're going to talk about next. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family, but you must make it a requirement of yourself.
You will be okay. There's nothing has been wasted. Like I say, successful people don't make the right decisions, they make their decisions right. And you have an opportunity right now to make things right inside and out. When you say you're depressed, you've got to understand that depression is the opposite of expression. So what you're literally doing is stuffing down and depressing something that wants to come up and rise out. I wouldn't be surprised if you had like jaw, ear, or neck pain having to do with expressing yourself, speaking your truth. So, yeah, you're depressing yourself. Stop it. Speak up. Speak your truth. Now, right, once you get that off your chest, now it's time to turn the flashlight in and discover what your truth is.
We are living in a generation of the dumbing down of ideas because we have traded effectiveness for busyness. We are so busy and we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective? Or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective?
It's easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy comes home at night all exhausted, falls in the chair and says, oh, I've been going. Here's the big question. Doing what? It's not the going. Some people are going, and they're doing figure eights. So don't mistake movement for achievement.
There's a lot of things you could take from me and I could make it. You could take my suit, I got another one. You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative. You were meant to be creative. You have creativity. If you had time, you would be creative.
Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation working out. And so the more valuable the goal, in principle, the more the microprocesses associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge. Well, you get up in the morning and you're excited about the day. You're ready to go. What you do is you specify your long-term ideal. You do that in some sense as a unique individual. You want to specify goals that make you say, if that could happen as a consequence of my efforts, it would clearly be worthwhile. The question always is, why do something? Because doing nothing is easy. You just sit there and you don't do anything. That's real easy. And then the next question might be, well, where should you look for worthwhile things? And one would be, well, you could consult your own temperament. So you do a structural analysis of the subcomponents of human existence. And you need a family. You need friends. Like, you don't need to have all these things, but you better have most of them. Family, friends, career, educational goals, attention to your mental and physical health, etc. You know, that's what life is about. And if you don't have any of those things, well, then all you've got left is misery and suffering. So that's a bad deal for you.
Don't mistake courtesy for consent. If somebody's pleasant and they nod, you say, oh, they're going to buy. No, they're courteous. You can't mistake courtesy for consent. Now, here's a big one, concentration. I had to learn this. All those years ago, I'm in the shower trying to compose a letter. Found it turns out to be a strange letter. So here's what I learned to do. Save the work till you get to the office. Save the work till you get to the work. Don't try to get to the office on the way to work. On the way to work, enjoy the way. In the shower, enjoy the shower. Then go to work when you get to work. Concentration. Learn to say no. I'm telling you, in such a social society we have now, it's so easy to try to be a nice person, saying yes, yes, yes to everything. Find yourself overloaded. Now you got to call and make well, gosh, you know, all the time it takes to back out of something that you said yes to too quickly. Here's what might be better. I don't think so, but if that changes, I'll call you. Little things you can use not to overcommit yourself.
But once you set up that goal structure, let's say, and that's really who it is that you're trying to be, you aim at that. And then you use everything you learn as a means of building that person that you want to be. And I really mean want to be. I don't mean should be, even those things are going to overlap. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. I would recommend that you don't let that happen. Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living. Anxiety-provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. The goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, that justifies your effort. Then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. It's not a bloody prison. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, what would it look like?
You are a warrior. It's time for you not to back up, not to give up, not to give in. Stop letting stuff derail you. Stop getting stuck. Every time life don't go your way, stop getting stuck. Stop quitting. Stop giving up. Keep fighting in the midst of the struggle. Keep fighting. Keep thinking positive. Keep going. You only lose when you quit. Remember what makes you different from the weak. The difference between the weak and the strong is that when the strong have no more left, they fight, they fight, they fight. The weak, they quit, they give up, they give in, and there's nothing weak about you. So I need you to fight your way through it.
Pretty soon, depending on the type of people you've associated with, distracted by your doubts within yourself. Never underestimate the power of influence and association. And never underestimate the power of your own consistent self-discipline. Now let's take a closer look at discipline, at the 3 steps to becoming disciplined. First, true discipline is not the easiest option. Most people would rather sleep until 10 o'clock than get up at 6. It's easier to go to bed late, sleep late, show up late, leave early. It's easier not to read. It's easier to turn on the television than to open a book. It's easier to do just enough than to do it all. Waiting is always easier than acting. Trying is always easier than doing. Imagine what life would be like if we didn't have to make our bed in the morning, or keep our garage clean, or pay our taxes, or show up for work tomorrow. Wouldn't it be fascinating if we didn't have to do these things? Wouldn't it be fascinating? What do you suppose would become of us? You're right. Not much. Results. Every once in a while, you got to take a measure, see how you're doing. Now we take a measure called results. What is the results at the end of the day, the results at the end of the week? You can't let too much time go by without checking. 6 years I've been out there working when I met my teacher, Mr. Shope. Shope said, well, Mr. Rohn, let's just go through a little summary here. Said, in the last 6 years, how much money have you saved and invested? Let's go through a little tab list here. How much money have you saved and invested the last 6 years? I said, what? 0. He said, you have messed up. He said, who sold you on that plan? I thought, my gosh, the man's right. I'm a nice guy. I bought the wrong plan. What if you were 50 and broke? Right? Didn't need to change countries. Bought the wrong plan. What a sad scenario that would be. The Shope said, these questions. Let's go through some results. He said, how many books have you read in the last 90 days? I said, what? 0. Wisdom of the world available? Change your life, change your future? Wisdom of the world available? Develop any skill you want? Earn the kind of income you want? Have all the treasures you want, equities you want, relationship with your family that you want, everything that you want available? And the wisdom of the world to help you get it? Haven't read any books in the last 90 days. My teacher said, Mr. Rohn, you have messed up. I'm telling you, you've got the deal. Shope said, Mr. Rohn, in the last 6 months, how many classes have you taken to improve your skills or to develop new skills? Go for the American dream. Become rich and powerful and sophisticated and healthy and influential. How many classes have you taken in the last 6 months? I said, how many? 0. He said, you have messed up. He said, you don't need to unmess the country. You don't need to straighten out the perplexed. You don't need to straighten out any of this stuff. All you've got to do is look within and let results teach you a great deal about your own activity, your own attitude, and your own philosophy. I went through that process. Take this phrase home. Results is the name of the game. What other game is there?
If the peak is worth reaching, the climb is going to be hard. I know you're ready to give up. I feel you. You're ready to give in. You're like, I've never gone through this before. Or maybe you're at the darkest point of your life and you're ready to give up. You're at a point in your life where you feel like it's do or die. You're going through so much pain. You're going through so much agony. You're ready to give up. You're ready to quit. Listen to me very carefully. You are a warrior, and it's time for you to fight.
The rewards of a disciplined life are great, but they're often delayed until some time in the future. The rewards for the lack of discipline are immediate, but they are minor in comparison to the immeasurable rewards of consistent self-discipline. An immediate reward for lack of discipline is a fun day at the beach. A future reward of discipline is owning the beach. For most, we choose today's pleasure rather than tomorrow's fortune. So how can you get rid of the easy distractions? How can you keep your mind on what you're trying to do? How can you keep an attitude of doing it all and doing it now? How can you make the choice of discipline over procrastination? How can you stay focused on your ambitions? You can keep your focus on your work. You can get it done today instead of tomorrow. You've got to really work on your consistent self-discipline on a daily basis, or you'll find yourself distracted. Distracted by negative thoughts, distracted by negative people, no second chance, no what would I do differently. Choose one or the other, but both will have their price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. One costs pennies, the other a fortune. The first lesson of discipline is that it isn't the easiest option. The second lesson of discipline is that it's a full-time activity. And we've said that the best form of discipline is consistent self-discipline. You see, the discipline that it takes to make your bed every day is the same discipline necessary for success in the world of business. The discipline to organize your garage is the same discipline to organize your business. All disciplines carry through to affect all parts of our lives. If we're disciplined in just one area and lazy in another, guess what? Pretty soon, the lazy side will creep in and destroy the disciplined side. The bad habits in one area of our life will eventually destroy our self-discipline in the areas we've been working on. Consistency cannot be inconsistent. Discipline is the mind being trained to control our lives. Discipline is a set of standards which we've selected as a personal code of conduct. Discipline is imposing on ourselves the requirements for honoring these standards. Once we've adopted these standards of behavior and conduct, we're committed to honor them. And if we don't, then there can be no disciplined activity. We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. We tell our kids that the TV is rotting their minds, yet we spend our evenings in front of it. We tell our employees that they must take advantage of every minute of the working day, yet we spend 3 hours at lunch. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all. These people seem to wander aimlessly, changing procedures, changing standards, changing loyalties, and shifting frequently from one commitment to another, leaving behind a trail of broken friendships, unfinished projects, and unfulfilled promises, all because of a discipline that was either non-existent or imposed so infrequently that it was ineffective. The system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable. Profitable seems to be the most difficult. Our world is and always will be a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards and a life of discipline and its far more significant rewards. Each has its own price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. We will pay one or the other. What we wish we had done is the voice of regret, speaking in a sorrowful tone at a time when there is no going back. This is regret.
Here's all life asks us to do: make measurable progress in reasonable time. To take home that little phrase, good phrase. We're asked in life simply to make measurable progress in reasonable time. We demand it of our children. How many years do you want your child to spend in 4th grade? Approximately. About 1. If it looks like they're not going to make it, we pour on the pressure. Call legitimate pressure. Lack of results. Peer pressure, family pressure, school pressure, community pressure. Every other kind of pressure we can bring to bear. What? You can't stay more than 1 year in 4th grade. What if they're nice kids? Wouldn't you give them 3 or 4 years? The answer is no. You've got to make better progress. So you got to check fairly often. Some things you got to check every day. Some things you got to check at least by the end of the week. Salesman joins this little sales company. He's supposed to make 10 calls first week. Wouldn't it be legitimate? Call him in on Friday and say, John, what? How many calls? I mean, this stuff is simple. John says, well. I say, John, well won't fit in this little box here. Well. Now John starts with a story. You say, John, I made this little box so small so a story won't fit. I don't need a story. I need what? A number. A number. What will a number tell me? Everything. John's supposed to make 10 calls. What if he made 20? Say, wow. Wow. We got somebody. What if he only made 1 call? Whoa. Will that tell us something about John's philosophy? And the answer is yes. Will it tell us something about his attitude? Of course. Will it tell us something about his disciplines? Of course. And if he wants a lesson in life change, all he has to do is be willing to face numbers and come up with the results that will teach you to either celebrate if you got good results or fix whatever needs to be fixed in your philosophy, attitude, activity called discipline. You don't need to go anywhere else. I do believe in affirmations. They are valuable as long as you affirm the truth. Because it says in ancient scripts, the truth will set you free. Free to do what? Amend your errors and pick up new disciplines. That's what the truth is for, to help us amend our errors and pick up the disciplines for life change. That's what the truth is for. So I do believe in affirming the truth. If you're broke, the best thing to affirm is, I am broke. You put that up on the refrigerator where you can see it every day. And that's how you do that.
I wish I had not waited 14 years. Somebody said, if you want to lose something, lose money. You can get that back. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. But don't lose time. There were 14 years I sat on the sideline. 14 years I said, I don't have an investor in me like Tony Robbins. 14 years that said, I don't have an MBA or a PhD, and I can't compete with these guys. I have the complexion of rejection. And so I regret that, because there are some people that maybe if they'd heard my voice, they would not have turned to drugs. If they'd heard my voice, their lives would have taken a different direction. And I can't get those 14 years back. That haunts me, and I think that drives me when I speak with such energy. I'm trying to make up for that time, but I can't.
And this era that Fortune magazine has aptly called the era of possibilities. I want you to look out on your personal life and on your professional life. Now I want you to think about something you want very badly. Just think about one goal that you'd like to achieve. Like my driving passion was to buy my mother a home, because I appreciated Mama adopting us. And I said, Mama, that's something I want to do for you. And I achieved that goal. And ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. There's nothing like doing something that you set out to do that gives your life some meaning and power and purpose. And that gave my life some meaning and power and purpose. And I'll never forget when we drove there and I gave her the key and she got out. She, oh my God. Said, nobody could have told me that you would have done this. And I was a bad one. I mean, I was a problem kid, you know. My mom used to wear my butt out. So I'll whoop your behind till the cows come home. I said, I hope they hurry up. But there was nothing like that achievement. Now, here's something I want you to do. Think about some goal you want to achieve. And I don't want you to worry about how you're going to do it. That's not important. Just shut up. Forget that. How is none of your business. Because of our mental conditioning, ladies and gentlemen, we unconsciously build a case on why we can't do something. When I wanted to go in the area of motivation, I started building a case for myself. Les, you can't do that. You've never worked for a major corporation. You can't do that. You don't have any college training. You can't do that. You don't have the money. You don't have the contacts. You've never done that before. What makes you think that you can make more money in 1 hour than most people make working for 2 or 3 months? How many of you have ever wanted to do something? And just answer honestly. How many of you have ever wanted to do something and you talk you out of it? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. All right, so you know that inner conversation, that's what I'm going to override tonight, all right? Now, by the way, when I get started, I get fired up, so don't pay me any attention. Let me take my go to. I don't have much time, so I want to burn this up. Hold this for me. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. All I want you to do is hold the vision of what you want. I want you to think about that all the time. Hold the vision of what you want. Keep that in your mind's eye. I dreamed about constantly being on Robert Schuler's program. I thought about it all the time. See, ladies and gentlemen, our thoughts have power. Your thought is what you brought. So people don't realize that. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. So your thoughts have magnetism, and the most challenging thing is to discipline your thinking, to hold the vision of what it is that you want. That's the most difficult part. I saw myself on Robert Schuler's program. I saw myself being interviewed by Robert Schuler. I saw myself prepared to answer whatever question he asked. I was ready for him. I've been there 1,000 times in my mind. At the end of the program, he said, "It feels like I've known you before, like we've been together before." I said, "We have been spiritually and mentally. I've been following you for a long time." I thought about it. See, this is no game to me. It's no memorized speech to me. I live this. I believe you don't teach what you don't know, and you don't lead where you don't go. And most people, ladies and gentlemen, most of us go to our graves with our greatness in us. Most of us, ladies and gentlemen, most people, when they die, you can literally put under their names, dead but not used up yet. Because most people go through life holding back. Most people go through life not giving their all. Most people have their lives on hold. How many of you know you can do more than what you've been doing? Raise your hands, please. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that proves a point. That we know we can do more than what we're doing, and we're not doing it. Why? I couldn't understand that. I was born in Liberty City. I knew I can do more than what I was doing when I was working for the Miami Sanitation Department. When I used to go door to door selling television sets, no money down. When I was working for Sears when it was on Biscayne Boulevard. I knew I can do more than that. But I wasn't doing, I was stuck because we don't do what we know. What we do is we operate in the context of the vision that we have of ourselves. See, I couldn't see how to do more. I knew I can do it, but I couldn't see it for me. I believed it. I didn't know it, because if I knew it, I would have been manifesting it. So therefore, hold the vision of what it is that you want. The next thing is that whatever it is that you want to do, ladies and gentlemen, here's something that's very key for you. There must be on your part a willingness to do what is required, a willingness. If there are 75 things to do to achieve your goal, if there's one thing on that list of 75 that you're not willing to do, I guarantee you that's the first thing that will come up for you and will kick your butt.